Hey everybody, Space Marine Steve here from Hyperspace Hobbies and Play on Tabletop. And I have been sitting with this Space Marine book for a while now, and I have absolutely loved it. I think that my initial reading of it was not particularly amazing. For some whatever reason, I was kind of down in the dumps about it a little bit. However, I find myself today, a month or so later now, having gone through the breakdowns, talked about the detachments, played them all a few times, and I'm now starting to find all the little things that seem to work, right? All those little combos that kind of pull together. And while I've thought to myself, I've slowly been on this upward trajectory of what I thought of the book. At first, when I first read it, I was a little on the, less enthused side of things, and then very slowly I've inched my way up towards, thinking that this book has got really a lot of flavor to it, and it's also got, there's some really exciting builds in there, and I must say I really love this detachment thing that GW has kind of put in place versus your more traditional chapters like Ultramarines and White Scars. Instead, we get something just a little bit more malleable. And I think that this particular route that they're going on is really, really smart, because it does give you so much variety, and it doesn't kind of like pigeonhole you with your particular chapter playing a certain way. And I like playing the chapters the way that they're sort of intended to be played. And for the most part, all the detachments do that. There is always one chapter that perplexes me in like how it wants to be played versus what the lore of it kind of is, and how that gets represented in the tabletop. And that's Ravengard. Ravengard always go through this really strange kind of like tug of war, almost. And this tug of war is between two sides. On one side, you have the, we're really stealthy, you can't see us. And then the other side is, everyone's got jump packs, we're moving really fast, but how that gets represented in the tabletop is that they get really aggressive, right? They're character hunters and killers, and the issue is that how do you then give them rules where this is going to actually make sense? Are they going to get rules that makes them really aggressive? Are they going to get rule that make them really defensive, right? And what I love about this Vanguard detachment that they've kind of been, placed under the umbrella of, is that it actually does both. So their defensive rule is that from 12 inches away, you're -1 to hit them, and they have the benefit of cover. This is a great rule, right? So not only do you not really have to worry about hiding behind terrain or making sure that you're obscured from enemy fire, you just have to make sure you're the right distance away. So you're going to get that benefit of cover, but also you're going to be -1 to hit, which is a great thing. That the defensive qualities on Space Marines, which are already pretty defensive, makes this a no-brainer when you're starting to choose which detachment that you're going to play. But additionally, something that I really love is that many of their stratagems bring out that flavor of the like vicious killer assassination focused chapter that I know Ravengard to be. For example, and this is one little, combination of units and stratagems and rules that I've been pairing together in the games that I've played practicing Ravengard, is by taking the stratagem Strike from the Shadows. It's kind of one of their namesake stratagems. And what that stratagem allows you to do is to pick a unit, and when that unit is making an attack against units that are 12 inches away or more, they get +1 to their ballistic skill, and they also get an additional AP on their weapons. So what unit does this go on? It's really got to go on Devastator squads. It's really got to go on units that are taking the initiative to shoot like long distances. Heavy intercessors would also benefit from this, right? Anything that is taking volume and sending it far away. So it won't work on things like aggressors, which will have, that lower range threshold. You really need something that has got, at least like a 24 to a 36-inch range for them to work with. So you have a little bit of that wiggle room. However, in my practice games, the unit that I have found to get the most mileage out of this hands down, Desolation Marines. Whoa, boy. This is the stuff. And I know Desolation Marines have gotten a lot of attention, especially since 10th kind of rolled out and they were what we'll call way too cheap, right? To now, which is almost like so expensive, it's ridiculous. Like, there's 200 points for 5 guys. Oh, not great. However, 200 points, 5 guys, and a stellar gun that gets even better when you give it a plus to hit and the additional AP. And I found the additional AP to be particularly helpful when you are slinging around the Castellan launchers. That's the part of their profile that doesn't have any AP, but it shoots out of line of sight. And I have found being able to take that particular weapon, sling it into, whatever really it is that you need to kill, with the boost to their ballistic skill and the boost to their AP. I mean, they're killing almost anything. It's insane. Like, they become the bane of the tabletop. And it also means that when you're shooting out of line of sight, they're ignoring the penalties, they're ignoring cover, and really, they put so much pressure on your opponent to, run out of their shell that your then more aggressive units that you've placed into your army are now in a really good position to pounce. So this lets you utilize that bonus you get just for playing the detachment, where you're getting a negative to be hit when you're 12 inches away, when you're getting the cover when you're 12 inches away, and now you use that stratagem. 1 CP only. It's wild. You use that stratagem, and suddenly you've got a unit of Desolation Marines that already kind of punch up, and now they're punching way up. And you also, because of this extra bonus, don't need to invest really, really, really hard into them, right? When you have just got 5 Desolation Marines with, 4 Super Cracks, 4 Castellan launchers, and 1 Vanguard launcher, suddenly now you're talking about a unit that can do so much extra work, and you don't need to have the full 10 because the stratagem makes that happen. You could push through the damage, and it matters a lot. In particular, it is actually quite a bit better than when you're talking about pairing that with intercessors or devastators or any other unit that is just kind of sitting in one spot. When you start building out your defensive, kind of like castle or rear gun lines, whenever you kind of start doing that with Space Marines, this is one of those stratagems and kind of like a little unit combo that I really love in that Vanguard Detachment. And I think that when I start basically all of my Raven Guard list in the future, I'm going to be starting with some Desolation Marines, knowing that I'm going to start cranking CP into them every single turn to get the mileage that I really, really need out of that unit. And it does take them up just that extra little bit to make that 200 points go that much farther. Thanks for staying with me to the end of the video. I'm curious if any of you have found any really interesting little combos that you can share with me. I love talking about Space Marines, so please put that down in the comments. What have you tried, particularly in that Vanguard detachment? Let's keep the conversation right there. If you've tried anything that you really, really like in that detachment, throw it down in the comments section. Let's talk more about Space Marines. Please, if you have not yet already, I would still, even though we didn't quite make it for October, I would still really, really love to try and hit our 3,000 subscriber goal real soon. Help us get there. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and, keep talking Warhammer with us. We absolutely love it. A huge thank you to everybody who's watched our videos over, this Space Marine Tober. And, I hope to catch you in the comments section and with one of our videos in the future later on. This is Space Marine Steve signing out. Have a good night.